Hello friends, in this lecture we are going to discuss uh, a very powerful yoga called kalpadrum yoga. Okay, so this kalpadrum yoga is mentioned by the Parashar Rishi in BPSS, and it is a very powerful yoga. It is akin to you must have heard of Kalpavriksha, which came out of Samudra Manthan by the Suras and Asuras. So it is like a Kalpavriksha who can give everything that a person desires. It is said about it, the mythology about Kalpavriksha is when somebody sits under the Kalpavriksha, he gets anything that he desires. And this Kalpadrum yoga is very much like sitting under that Kalpavriksha. One gets everything that one desires. Okay. And this yoga is, to understand this, one has to understand uh, these four planets. Okay. First is the lagna lord. So, as we all know, the lagna lord is the, you can say, the essence of the entire chart, essence of the kundali. Okay. Because finally, the native is at the center of that kundali. Okay. The native is experiencing the whole universe around himself. So the basic intelligence in the native, which is experiencing the whole environment, the whole universe, that particular intelligence is represented by the Lagna Lord. Okay. Now from the perspective of that native, everything else is just an environment. So it's an environment, like all the sentient beings which are around him, his mother, father, children, brothers, houses, vehicles, guru, teachers, senior bosses, his office, his work, his gains, his friends, his moksha, his bhoga. Everything is just an environment for him. And he is the ultimate experiencer of the entire environment. And with what intelligence he is going to experience the whole thing, that is called the Lagna Lord. Okay. So, first thing to see is the Lagna Lord. Okay. Next, look at the place where Lagna Lord is there in the Kundali. That particular place shows the point at which the whole intelligence of the person is going to be applied. Okay. So if the Lagna Lord is there in the Lagna itself, then he will have his whole intelligence applied onto his own body, onto his own self, on everything related to the first house. His whole intelligence will apply over there. If it is there in the 12th house, then his whole intelligence will be there on how to spend, where to spend the money, about bed pleasures, sleep, about getting rid of this life, like in the form of spirituality and moksha, moksha also. Okay, so I'm not going deep into all the all the houses if Lagna Lord is placed and what happens. Then, but in general, the rule is wherever it's placed, that particular place determines the the uh, the where the intelligence of the person is applied. Okay, he will try to get meaning of life from that particular place. Okay, so now let us look at the second planet. Okay, so first is the Lagna Lord. Second is the dispositor of the Lagna Lord. Okay, so where the Lagna Lord is placed, owner of that particular house. Okay, now owner of that particular house has got the responsibility to do nourishment to this particular Lagna Lord. Okay, now this intelligence that we just now discussed, the main intelligence of the native, it will get nourishment from this dispositor. Okay, in short, you can say it is basically the health of the person, not only the physical health, but also the mental health of the person. Because that mental health is actually the vitality which is one provided to the native. It gives rise to that particular intelligence which is called lagna lord, and based on which the person goes and exercises his intelligence and his powers to get the meaning of his life. Okay, so the second thing is the dispositor of lagna lord, which is nothing but the health perspective of the person, the mental health, the physical health. You can also see the spiritual health. Okay, now third planet. Third planet is the dispositor of this dispositor. Okay, now dispositor of this dispositor is basically, now see, this planet, which was the dispositor of lagna lord, is actually denoting the health, and the house and when at what place that health planet is there, the owner of that particular house is going to determine the wealth of the person or the resources of the person, because based on the resources his health will be determined. Okay, so it's a very simple thing, like when a person is poor, even a very small kind of disease, even diarrhea also can kill him. And if the person is wealthy, then he obviously has access to a lot of healthcare services, and he doesn't die like that as the poor people do. So wealth determines the health of the person. But here, do not misunderstand wealth to be the actual wealth in terms of money, but it is actually the amount of resources which are available to the person. Amount of resources in the form of people, in the form of social security, in the form of how much strength he feels from the environment, how much support he gets from the environment. Okay, that is the wealth. Then finally, the fourth planet we have to look, which is, we looked at the wealth planet. Now look at the navamsa dispositor of the wealth planet. Now, as we all know, navamsa is actually the chart of bhagya. It is the chart of fortune. It denotes what is there in the fortune of that particular planet. So, if any planet is, is meant to provide wealth to the person, then is there any bhagya? Is there any fortune behind that planet to provide such a support to him? So that is the fourth planet. So four planets one has to look. One is the lagna lord. Second is the dispositor of lagna lord. Third is the dispositor of the dispositor of lagna lord, and fourth is the navamsa dispositor of the previous lord. Okay. So these four planets, if they are having good strength, if they are in the Kendra or the Kona, the trine or the Kendra, then, and they should be having good strength, in good position, in good avastha, exaltation, and not debilitation or own house, more trikona house, without association of bad planets. If everything is good about all these four planets, then it forms a very powerful yoga in the person, because of the reasons that I mentioned. You see, there are chain of things that happen. Okay, there is a good bhagya to a planet, and that planet is giving wealth to another planet, and that planet is again in good condition and is giving vitality to the lagna lord, and lagna lord is also a very good position. He is giving lot of intelligence and lot of good cause to the person, so to flourish. So all these four combinations, when they are together in high vitality, then it gives a very powerful yoga to the person. Okay, now we'll see some illustrations to see how this yoga works. Okay, so for kalpadrum yoga, one has to look at these four planets. Okay, first is the lagna lord. Second is the dispositor of lagna lord. Third is dispositor of lagna lord, and fourth is the navamsa dispositor of lagna lord. Okay, so let's say let's say this is the ascendant, and Mars, the lord of lagna lord, is there in Libra, and lord of Libra is there in Aquarius. So first planet is lagna lord. Who is lagna lord here? Mars. Second planet is the dispositor of lagna lord. So where is lagna lord placed? Is placed in Libra. So lord of Libra is Venus. Then the third planet is dispositor of Venus, Venus itself, which is Saturn slash Rahu. And the fourth planet is, look at the navamsa position of Saturn and Rahu. Okay, so let's say in navamsa, Saturn is there in Leo. Okay, so Lord of Leo. So these four planets, they form the kalpadrum yoga. Is they are all very powerful, and they are placed in Kendra or Kona. Okay, so for judging the strength of these planets, one has to look at the standard rules for used in astrology, like they should be placed in good houses, in friendly houses, in exaltation, and in Kendra and Kona to have a good strength of this house. Okay, so Lagna Lord is basically the intelligence, the main intelligent factor behind the native. The dispositor of Lagna Lord is basically the health factor behind, because it is giving environment to the Lagna Lord to grow. So that is the health factor, the vitality of the Lagna Lord. Third is the wealth factor in the sense basically the resources provided to the native. And finally, the Namas dispositor is basically the fortune factor associated with the wealth planet. Okay, so this way the whole thing goes. Let me again repeat that. So first is the intelligence of native, which is provided by the health or vitality of this person, which is provided by the wealth or the resources given to this person, and finally the fortune of the planet which is providing the wealth. Okay, so this is the Lagna Lord, this is the dispositor of Lagna Lord, this is the dispositor of Lagna Lord, and this is the Navamsa dispositor of dispositor of Lagna Lord. Okay, so these four planets should be there in good conditions to have this yoga fructified. Now we'll see how this some example charts related to Kalpadrum yoga. Okay, this is the example chart for Kalpatrum Yoga. We are looking at the Kundali of Mahatma Gandhi, and in this chart, let us see how the Kalpatrum Yoga is manifesting. So, Lagna is Libra, and Lord of Libra is Venus. So, the first planet is Venus, which is again placed in Libra itself. So, the dispositor of Lagna Lord is Lagna Lord himself, and the dispositor of Lagna Lord, dispositor of Lagna Lord is again Venus. So three planets, they are denoted by Venus itself. So the planet for the intelligence of the person is Venus. Planet for the health of the person, vitality of the person is again Venus. Planet for uh, The wealth or the resources of the person is again Venus. So three planets are Venus. Now let us look at the navamsa chart. In the navamsa chart, Venus is placed in the Taurus, and again Lord of Taurus is Venus himself. So this way you see all the four planets, they are denoted by Venus itself, and in the lagna, in the Rashi chart, lagna is placed in the Kendra itself, that is own sign in lagna itself, and ninth lord Mercury is there in the lagna, along with seventh house lord Mars in the lagna. So it is causing a very powerful yoga in the first house. So no doubt Mahatma Gandhi was very famous, and he was obviously one of the most powerful personality of the 20th century. So this is how you see the kalpadrum yoga is manifesting. Now again you see Venus has gone into the eighth house from the lagna in the navamsa along with Ketu. So Ketu is the moksha karaka. So basically you see, even though it is gaining the eighth house from itself, it is causing, even though it's a good planet, okay, causing the Kalpadrum Yoga, it is there in the eighth house from itself in the Navamansha, which is kind of a self-denial to the native. So Mahatma Gandhi was more into doing the vratas and upvas. He used to do very long upvas for 30 days, 40 days. So this is kind of self-denial, which is provided by the Lagna Lord himself, and it is going in the eighth house of occult and mysticism. So he was involved in these mystical practices for mainly for self-actualization. And since Ketu is there, the Mokshkarak Ketu is there, so it was not only for the purpose of gaining the independence for the nation, but it is for his own redemption also. Okay, so hope that helps, and you apply it on all of the charts that you see. Thank you. Hari Om.